It starts off with the disco music, picks up right at the end of part 2. I love the recap.
Part 3 theme song.
Yeah.
That
It's so good.
Game. That should have been in the game.
That should have been the whole game, yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh man. It's just so good. And it ends with that too. I just watched it yesterday. First half yesterday, second half today. But no, the recap is so great because the recap from 1 to 2 isn't as good. It's okay, it's good, but the recap from 2 to 3 is much better, and the recap from 3 to 4 is even better than from 2 to 3.
The best recap.
It's 3 to 4.
7.
7? Yeah, okay. I mean, 7's solid.
But it's because it has all of them together.
Right.
Yeah.
I love the recaps, though. It's just something you don't really get into today. No. It seems like a Netflix special thing they would do.
If previously Friday the 13th ever comes back and they start making a bunch of sequels, they need to bring that back. That was like a flavor of the movie.
It's weird because like at the beginning of the movie, it creeps me out. By the end of the movie, I'm just like, I just cannot get enough of it. It really tells you what it's like. Part 6 with the Bond intro, it really tells you what movie you're getting into. Hey, this is going to be zany. It's going to be fun, and that's kind of what it's going for. Like you got like the hippies smoking weed. You got you got the guy, the jokester is always playing pranks.
Yep.
They threw in a pregnant gal in there for a weird thing that doesn't go anywhere. Shelley is...
Got a biker gang.
Shelley is one of those characters you either love him or hate him. He's like Tina.
No, Tina is like Tina.
Well, yeah, Tina's Tina, but I'm just saying in Halloween is referencing. But I like Shelley. Sometimes he's a bit much, but he's supposed to be a bit much.
Yeah.
The thing that hurts about Shelley is that fast forwarding, when he dies, spoiler, it's going to be spoilers in here, when he dies...
1982.
Right, I know, but... when he dies, there's no real payoff. Like it feels like he gets the boy who cried wolf justice, but
Jason gets the mask. That's the payoff.
Yeah, but it just feels a little shy. Like I would have liked to have seen him either like make his own blood and try to pretend like somebody had already killed him.
But it's also it's a 1982 horror movie. It's a much different time.
It is.
Then again, we could go into Scream 5 and talk about ceremony and death scenes.
No. But on the positive note. Kirby is back.
Yeah.
Very excited.
I love how we both... Kirby.
Okay. She is the one saving grace that could help me chew through. And I won't probably watch 5 again for a while, but...
I will watch 4.
And go to 6. Yeah, hopefully 6 is better than 5. But anyway, back to but it's weird because, like, I actually dislike Scream 5 more now than I dislike Halloween Kills. Like, Halloween Kills, I'm like, I've lowered my standards so much. Oh yeah, I remember 3 now. It's very good. Good too. Yeah. It's so weird because the flavor change is good and it knows how to capitalize it. It builds a little bit of character and then it goes straight rock and roll in like the last 30 minutes.
I think that the struggle a lot of people had is the Jason that you got in part 1 is a little kid just out of the lake. Part 2 is a copy and paste of the first movie. But instead of the mom, it's Jason. But he's an adult. He has red hair and beard. He has a sack on his head, oversized head. And then this is supposed to be the very next day.
Well, but this is something... I actually want to do a separate video on this. Is like the differences that people don't understand is that Jason doesn't actually... sorry, I want to word this correctly. Hang on while I'm thinking of it. I'm going to refresh. Jason doesn't actually show up without the potato sack hat on. He actually is, per 3, starting forward on 3, that end scene through the window doesn't happen. That's a dream thing. It doesn't happen. In 3, he gets stabbed in the shoulder and then crawls away, and that's it. Now, you could say that plays in later, but that could be a dream, and that could be erased. That's how I make it work.
Still, he didn't have a beard. He didn't have long red hair.
But you don't see him without the mask until...
Yeah, but you see the back of his bald head and the side of his face around the hockey mask. There's no red beard.
No. You don't see the beard in the part 2. If you're counting, if you count when he jumps through the window as a dream, you don't see that. So that's how I justify it.
Okay.
I justify that, like, at the end of 3, the end of 3 is a dream sequence as well. So that's how I justify it, but that's something that catches up a lot of people. I kind of figured out a way to justify it.
Also, from Steve Dash to Richard Brooker, there is a huge, imposing difference between the two. Steve Dash was not, and Warrington Gillette, the two men who played Jason in Part 2, are not nearly as large or as broad as Richard Brooker in Part 3. Richard Brooker looks like he could take down a tank.
So yeah, he's huge.
It's before Kane Hodder, it's before Ken Kritzinger, it's before Derek Mears, men who were even bigger. But for the time, Richard Brooker was big, and he had some shoulders.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, this is him all day. Like,
and Kane, I feel like that's part of why Kane was cast for 7. If you look at his shoulders too, he's got that. Ugh. And
Ted White was he was buff, but he just wasn't as thick up top.
It was almost a drop down to Part 2's like physique. Now Part 4 Jason was a lot more charismatic than Part 2 or 3 Jason.
Yeah. You're gonna like this, man. Paul says, I just know I hate the one with the copycat. Jason 3 and 4 and in New York on my top 3 faves. He just said New York is... Boo!
Jason Takes Manhattan is one of my favorite of the franchise.
Oh, God, it's one of the worst.
I shared my ranking with John recently, and I think he was about to have a heart attack.
Yeah, we'll get there.
And I'm not sorry. It's a personal enjoyment factor. It's not... Because if I were to rank the franchise on what I think is arguably the best to worst, it'd be a very different list. Absolutely a very different list.
When we do it, we're going to do it back to back. We're going to do, like, with your brain in one and your heart in the other. That's how we're going to do it. Brain in one, heart in the other.
That's not fair.
Oh, shit. Paul, can you hear us? I forgot the mic is way down low. Caleb, I blame you.
You tried to put it in my face.
That sounds wrong. Hopefully they can hear that. Paul, have you been able to hear us, man? Let me know if you've been able to hear us. The mic dropped on accident. Caleb dropped the mic. But no. Oh, cool. Thanks, man.
John didn't completely ruin it.
I didn't. I was like, I looked down and see the mic on the floor. I'm like, oh, that makes me sad. Oh, you know why?
It's not plugged in. I just looked at the cable.
It's so funny. We both looked at it at the same time. It's because I didn't. Well, yeah, if you can hear us fine, I might just. Well, I'll plug it in.
Well, yeah, because we're gonna watch the movie and it's.
Yeah, Paul. Here, let me know if it's better or worse here in just a second, man. Oh, Paul. It's Halloween and Annie's singing it. Anyway, what's happening?
I'm thinking about all the singing and Halloween 2.
Halloween 2? Oh, from Bud? Oh, Amazing Grace. Please come sit on my face. But no, so that's one way with the dream, and then the other thing is there's an attack that happens to the main character Chris, where she is physically assaulted, and then she wakes up in her bed. This is also a dream.
This part doesn't make sense. It is one of the biggest trip-ups in the Friday the 13th franchise because it is the only one that makes Jason seem like he might be a sexual predator as well as a murderer, which is out of character for the rest of what Jason was set up to be.
Right.
Unanimously all over, I've seen people just accept that it's a dream. Kind of like in the same vein as Jason Takes Manhattan, some of those dream sequences. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It trips that scene. I hate that scene.
That's the worst part. It's the worst part of the entire movie.
Yeah, that scene ruins. It just, if you cut that out, it's a much better movie. So, spoilers. Friday the 13th Part 3 is probably my most rewatched and my most go-to. I love it. But that scene just, it pulls you out of the movie for a minute because that's Jason's thing, right? He's getting rid of people who were engaging in sexual acts, who were the reason that he drowned, the reason that his mother was killed. Those are the things that he hates, or at least those things that drive him to kill. So it just...
Right, it goes against the character, yeah.
And I think that's why they shied away from it in later sequels. Well, that and because zombie, rapey Jason would be really...
I don't know, man. Everything is acceptable after you watched Evil Dead and you see a tree go after that gal. Like,
well, which one, the original or the remake?
Both. And I'm actually
was hard.
I'm this close to finishing Ash vs. Evil Dead on Netflix. God, I love that show.
Dude, it's amazing.
It's so good. It's so good. Got to watch Ash vs. Evil Dead. But so getting rid of that because that's garbage. But it doesn't kill the movie for me anymore. I've decided once again it's a dream. Move past that.
Okay.
I will say, like I told you, I watched this movie probably 6-7 months ago. Then I watched it yesterday, the first half, and I like the guy at the beginning. He's getting yelled at by his wife. We can all relate to if you're married, we get it. So it makes you like that character and hate the wife.
Through his store and eating his own.
Yeah, I was like, this is why there's safety seals now.
Yeah, but if you think about it, you're in a small town. You run your own grocery store. You know you're not going to sell all your goods, so what are you going to do? You're going to walk around, handful of peanuts.
But he puts them right back on the shelf. Is the problem?
That part's gross.
Yeah.
But you get it feels real. Like it feels like something that would really happen.
Yeah.
Like and that's nice because I feel like a lot of Friday the 13th is based in this non-reality, whereas that is an entirely relatable scene, even to the point where she's hunting down the noise.
Yeah.
Like, we have all been in a yard or a basement or somewhere where we've heard a noise, but there's something hanging in the way and we can't tell what it is, and it's making us a little bit nervous. Hopefully 9 times out of 10 people, it's nothing. It wasn't so much in their case, but...
Yeah, that's the problem. The first half of the movie, like, I really like that guy. I like the wife. It starts to linger a little bit. Like, there's a jump scare, and then 5 minutes later, then he gets it. She gets sped up and gets it a lot more. And it's not a very good kill. Like, it just, for the suspense. After that, I'm into the new characters for a few minutes, but then you get into that assault thing, dream thing is very prevalent for, like, the second, or the I don't know, after about 45 minutes in, like, it just kind of lingers there for a while. So last time I watched this, you can really feel they shot out a quick movie, one, they shot out of the second one pretty quick, and then, like you said, it's kind of a repeat of one. And this one, you can really feel them stretching out, like, oh, we gotta make this good. It's like Halloween 2 with the security guard. God dang, like, it really lingers for one kill. Yeah. And that's what kind of happens in this. So what's funny is, like, I watched the first half, and last time I watched the movie from start to finish, I got pissed. I was kind of irritated. I was like, get to it already. Like, it's back and forth from the barn. It's creepy. He's here. He's not here. I'm like, let's freaking go. By the time I finally got to the action, I was pissed off. This time I watched the first half and was like, yeah, still feeling it. I'm still, kind of struggling with this. Then you watch the second half on its own. The last 45 minutes is amazing.
So... it is a weird pace for a horror movie, even at the time. If you look back at Friday 1, Friday 2, the original Nightmare on Elm Street, the original Halloween, the pace is pretty consistent throughout. Friday the 13th Part 3 is not consistent throughout with the pacing. That said, I don't have as much of a problem with it as, like, you do, and a lot of Friday fans really have a problem with the pacing. Because arguably, it is one of the slower entries with just weird, like the barn scenes before the end barn scene. There's a lot of them, and they're slow. And you're just, like, lingering on hay in a barn, and you're not really sure why. And then they cut you away to they're at a gas station, or it's weird. It's weird. So I get it. But something about it just feels like real life. Well, and
it works, too, because he keeps on, like, poking his head out just enough, and he's just barely there to where he's, like, luring people to the barn, like his death trap, where he's got, like, tons and tons of weapons in there because it's a barn.
Yeah.
It does work for the movie. It just pisses me off how long it takes to get there. I'm like, let's get to the action, because once you get there, it's amazing.
Yeah, and it feels like Jason is playing cat and mouse in this film a lot more than he was in Part 2.
Right. Right, he's more trappy. He's more, and he has some Michael Myers kind of feel to it too, where, like, bodies jump out and, like, they're It's not like in 4 where he hangs Kristen Glover up on the door to, like, would freak out anybody and stop anybody that's heading out the door. I like that because it works to the nastiness, the fear, the trap of the situation. Yeah. So I like that. But I mean, once you get to where hippie dude is taking a poop in the outhouse, or if you just start right at the dock scene where she opens up the wall, or she drops the wallet. That's where I would probably, if I'm short on time or if I just want to crunch these, I always say that because sometimes I don't have time to watch a full movie. I just want to get to the good stuff, and I'm sorry if the first half of the movie sucked because it's all build. That's fine. You got to do what you got to do. But this is a movie where I probably will start right at that dock scene, even though I really don't care for the walk. I know you like it. I don't like the walk from Jason. He looks like he just cashed his check and he was like, well, damn it, now I gotta go get a second job. Like when he's walking slowly on the deck and he's just like, and he looks up, he's like, God dang it, I gotta go kill the rest of these dudes. Like he looks like he doesn't want to go to work.
To me, he looks like he knows his strength. He knows where he's going. He has no doubts in what he's doing. He's just casual about it. And his walk and his demeanor, to me, looks like he doesn't care. And it's not like that imposing fear, like you will fear me, like Kane Hodder or even CJ Graham. And it's not cowardly like Ken Kritzinger's, and it's not overbearingly brutal like Ted White or Derek Mears. It's like that. It's like a weird balance for me that I really like. I know a lot of people really dislike it.
I'm one of them. It doesn't feel right to me. It just feels like he is not interested at all in what he's doing.
But to me, it feels like Richard Brooker brought his own thing, and I love Friday 4, but I do kind of wish there was another Richard Brooker Friday the 13th film.
I would replace Brooker with Ted White, and I love everything Ted White does in that movie, but for consistency's sake, I probably would have, yeah. So, if I have to keep 3, I would put him in 4. But if I had the option, I might put 4 in 3. But I don't know. So let's go forward just a little bit. We're going to bounce around here a little bit. But the end, though, when he's like, he's Chris. One thing I want to say. One thing. Friday the 13th Part 3. I don't think you can argue this. Has the best final girl in the entire franchise. Like, hands down. She's awesome. The whole time she's in charge.
1 and 2 have the best final girl.
Yeah.
Or no, sorry, 2 and 3.
2 and 3, yeah. But Jenny in the second one, she doesn't really go toe to toe with him as much. Like, Chris has to go toe to toe with him for like a solid 15 minutes straight.
Yeah. No. So, yes, on that part, but I really, really like that's one of the strongest parts of 2, in my opinion, is the final girl.
Yeah, that's fair. Also, I want to say that well, I told you were going to. We're going to get hit. I told you. I told him.
Why are you trying to kick my ass with Power Rangers?
I told him.
Her pokey bosom hit me in the eye.
I have such a headache. I'm sorry. Anyway, no, I will say that I know. I told you I disturbed.
This is gonna fall down.
I disturbed the shelf. It was my fault.
God.
I saw it coming, but I thought if I reacted, I just like. No, it also is probably the most fun. The second half of the movie is probably the most fun in the entire franchise, other than Part 6, because Part 6 knows what it is, and it is what it is the whole time. It's probably my favorite music too. I just wanted to say a couple positives real quick while I was thinking of it.
The two films in the Friday the 13th franchise that actually fully put fear in me as a kid was Part 7 and Part 3. I didn't see Part 4 for a little bit, but Part 3, my grandparents, and I've said this due to Part 7 as well, my grandparents lived next to a lake. I crashed at their house often. Right behind their house was a not terribly thick, but you couldn't see through it, patch of woods. So it was just to the imagination. Part 7,
perfect.
I always pictured Jason coming out of the lake.
Oh, God.
But Part 3, I always imagined being trapped and trying to run away from the Richard Brooker Jason, like the final scenes, like the van getting stuck.
Yeah.
And he reaches...
I love that head bash through the window. Love that.
Those two images are what I had. Part 7, Jason rising out of the lake, and then Part 3, Jason just right on me the whole time.
Who did it better, the head smash through the window? Halloween 2 or Friday 3?
I'm going to go Friday 3.
I'm probably going to go Friday 3 too. It just seems so intense.
Also, the hockey mask just adds like this weird, like, I know, like, Michael not actually being fully protected is like, ooh. But also something about the hockey mask going through it is just like, bro.
Yeah. Well, it felt a lot like Michael, where he, like, glides through everything, right? He's very fluid. And it felt like when he shatters the window, it's the same thing. Like, he almost has this evil force field that just kind of shatters whatever's in his
Terminator.
way. Yeah. I mean, or like, Freddy when he goes through the bars kind of thing,
yeah.
you know? Yeah. But anyway, I love this Jason. This Jason's special because he grunts a lot. Like, he gets stabbed. He's like, oh, and but it's intense.
He's
though.
human.
But yeah, but it's intense. He's like, oh, like he's even powerful when he's getting hurt.
Yeah.
And then I love that he hisses. I love that hiss so much. When Chris pushes him, so he gets stabbed. Chris runs away. She jumps down, kicks him in the face. They go upstairs. Little fight. She knocks him out with the shovel, puts the noose on his head, shoves him out, and then when she goes downstairs and opens up that barn door, and I love her, and this is why she's one of my favorite final gals, she takes that little wheel thing and she beats open the wood bar that he put down over it, and that's awesome too. When he comes in there, he's just like, oh, and he shoves that bar down, but she takes that wheel and she beats the door up without really having to try. Like, she just knew, like, I got to get something to do this. She's very
I gotta get out.
Yeah, she's very
motivated to live.
Right, roll with the punches. She's very creative. I love her so much. But when she opens that door and he's just dangling right there, like, you almost expected him to not be there, and him being there is creepier than him not being there.
Yeah, like, the fact that you know that he's still there, and because it's a horror movie, he's not dead.
I mean, and the way he's hanging too, like, even hanging there, he just looks big and impulsive,
imposing.
Imposing. It just looks, and then
the way
he gets both hands and he raises up.
And then they lift the mask. Oh. And real quick, there are two, three variants of the under mask. I don't remember which one this one is. I think it's the Stan Winston. Don't quote me on it because I'm a little bit
I'm not sure on that one either, yeah.
My favorite of the variation is actually the end sequence where he's in the window. I love that look. The Brute, I think is what it was called. I don't remember entirely. But this version, when she pulls it up, the way his face is, I don't think he's actually smiling, but it looks like he is, which makes it so much creepier.
Right. So he basically, intents and purposes, he is smiling. And then when he hisses at her, and he pulls up like it wasn't nothing, right? Like, nothing. Whoop, and then he just like, whoop, yeah, and I just love that. You get to linger, and then the fight scene where I can't remember his name now, Viper, or whatever his name was, the head of the biker gang or whatever
that you thought was dead.
Yeah, because he got hit in the head like 4 times. Like, good God, man! Like, maybe tone it down.
Some scrambled eggs up there.
Oh yeah, but he comes out, he's like, hurry, and then boom, he gets dispatched. His hand goes flying, then he gets cut in half, and then when you get that axe in the face, man, you see him lurch forward. It goes so well into what would happen later into the franchise.
That scene, that is probably, and this is rough to quote, but I think that is the most iconic scene in Friday the 13th history, is when he takes the axe to the head and he just jets his hands out. And if you've seen it in 3D, if you've been able to, I know for the time a lot of the 3D looks pretty bad, but that is just jarring if you're in the movie.
Yeah, it kind of feels like a Frankenstein's last effort before he died, kind of a thing. Yeah.
It's great.
Or Frankenstein coming to life, because as it would go on, but
it's Friday the 13th Part 3 is one of my favorites in the franchise. I also am weird, and I think that the basic look of this Jason is arguably one of the most scary. It's just a dude in a hockey mask and a basic work shirt, boots, and a pair of pants. The traps are okay, but what I like is his neck. His neck is so fat and it's wrinkly, and it's just like, he just looks like a tank. And for me, what really sets him apart is that hiss. It's like Batman Begins.
Yeah. Well, and, like, splitting that dude in half Like, he's kind of playful. Like, he's kind of ghostly, yet playful.
Cat and mouse.
It's such a good combination of different things that make him a really good Jason. I don't know. Like, cause the fourth movie is such a more intense. Like, he's just no lollygagging, destroying people left and right. And he's more hidden in shadow. And it's a very mean type of Jason. This was more of a playful Jason that actually has a better blend of 2 with his kind of clumsy, kind of like, you can get the upper hand on him. So this is a really good mixture. I could be pressed to say he's better than Ted White. I could. I love what he did. I would say the only thing I don't like is the dock scene, but I'm glad people do like it, so it's not just me.
If we ever get to it, just know he is my number 1 Jason. To me, he set what Jason was supposed to be. That's not taking away anything from Steve Dash. That's not taking anything away from Friday the 13th 2. It's just this Jason feels to me like the actual framework for what Jason became. That's it. That's all.
Well, yeah, it helps that he had the mask and he got the green shirt, the imposing threat, 2 was trying to figure out what was doing, and 3 actually like got it concrete. This is what we do.
Yeah, it was
other than the assault. So dumb.
That was, again, that scene. If we could just cut it.
Yeah. This thing has 2 dream sequences. It's weird too. Like, it's got the mom at the end, which is awesome. I love the worms coming out of her face. It's so cool to see her with the worms coming out of her face, and then part 5's Dream Jason or whatever with the worms coming out of his. To see something like that side by side would be really cool.
Yeah.
And then the like once again the other dream sequence where he's upstairs and he sees her. He doesn't have his mask on. He hisses and he's running. Super great ending. I love that she survives. So unfortunately, they don't reuse these characters. Some of these characters throughout the franchise, unlike Tommy, they'll actually, he becomes like the survivor of the franchise. I would love to see like a nut house where like they're all together and then like they have to like overcome their fears by going to the lake.
I have to give credit where credit's due on that with the fan films, with Never Hike Alone, and with the Vengeance fan film and Jason Rising so far. It seems
Vengeance
like,
did it a little bit. They use their kids though.
Yes, but they're tying it back to the characters from the earlier films.
Right.
Which is something that I feel like all the fans wanted. It just, it was more about getting the paycheck than it was the continuity or the characters.
Right, and they pumped them out so fast that that's why, like, what I'm saying, like the second one, why it feels like a repeat is because it was so fast shot out there. The third one feels like it's got a gap in it, well, because it's filling time. And the reason the fourth one didn't come out is because they thought they killed him in the third movie, and they're like, oh, we're done with Jason. We're done. We don't, they actually did not, Paramount did not want anything to do with Jason. Like, they felt awkward with it, so they wanted to kill him off.
Yeah.
But due to money, they brought him back for 4, and then due to money, they did 5, and until they sold it.
I remember all of the interviews and all the commentary I've watched is Paramount put their foot down and said, "This is it. This is the last one," and that's why it got the title "Final Chapter," is because it was supposed to be the final chapter. Now, the one thing is with Corey Feldman's look, there was supposed to be, if they were allowed to pick it back up, he was going to be the saving grace of the franchise. He was going to become the bad guy. He was going to embody Jason. And that didn't happen either. So, we got 5, which is a controversial film in the franchise, but
it's weird that Halloween tried to do the same thing after this had already come out. Like, that's a little weird. Halloween was a little too reactive to Friday the 13th, which I get it, but...
Well, I mean, Halloween came first. Friday the 13th kind of copied some of the ideas, but then sold way more tickets.
Well, yeah, because it had that gruesome stuff that you really hadn't seen. There was stuff out there, but the American general public, they hadn't really seen that stuff before. Yeah. Halloween's a nice in-between of, like, Psycho and a couple of the Friday the 13th. Mm-hmm. It's a really nice in-between. Taking nothing away from the original Psycho. It's amazing. It definitely beats out the original Friday the 13th. But I would say Halloween's better than Psycho, but it's not really fair because it had another 17 plus years to figure it out.
This is a topic for a day after I've revisited the Psycho series.
Yeah, well, now you own the franchise, so except for the remake.
I do. Well, nobody needs to own that.
I own it. I like it.
You're wrong. I watched it like a year ago and hated every moment of it. Although I will say, Vince Vaughn is actually scary.
Yeah, when he's sitting there in the chair, like
He is
God.
scary in that movie.
He's unnerving. Now, you're not supposed to have that scary feeling. So I get that people that are like purists of the original movie, I understand how that bothers you because he's not a wolf in sheep's clothing. Like, he's not an innocent child. Like, he comes off as very creepy and not safe. But I don't really care. It just doesn't. I have the original movie. This is something for some reason it doesn't bother me. But anyway, so that's anything else on part 3. I feel like we covered most of it. The music's great. The characters are, but they're fun.
The setting, I want to say, of all of the Friday films, Friday 3 has my favorite setting.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I did want to say too. You're talking about the setting when I believe it's Chris. She's in the house and she's screaming, "Oh my God!" Or it's the other gal, the hippie gal. One of them. They have a corner where it's like that the wood, not wood paneling, but you know what I'm talking about. The cabin wood, and it's got the windows. It feels almost spot on to Freddy vs. Jason. Like when Jason grabs Freddy and like runs him through the.
Yeah.
It really feels like
does.
Freddy vs. Jason got that. Like I just got that today when I was watching. I was like, "Oh my God, it was right just like that." But I really liked that. I thought that was cool. But really, the first 4 movies are just a solid. Granted, they're kind of B-list, but they're a lot of fun.
Yeah,
and this fits right in, and it's got its own. Each one is completely different from the other. In the 4, 5 is completely different. 6 is completely different. 7 has got some similar vibes, but does something different.
Yeah.
8 goes off the rails. You and Paul can have all that you want. And then and then New Line got it and was like, "We're just gonna punt this thing." We're like it's like they intercepted it. They're like, "Yay, we got the ball," and they immediately punted it. Like, let's do a weird hopping thing. Let's go to space. Like, I don't know. It just seems really weird.
Got it and made Jason Goes to Hell first.
Right. No, I'm sorry. No, I'm just saying, like, yeah, but what did I say?
You said went to space.
Yeah. I said did the hopping thing.
We
the
went
slug.
to hell, then space.
Right. They did the slug thing, then they went to space. Then they did a good movie. And then they did a really good movie, and then nothing.
Well, they didn't. Well, Platinum Dunes did.
Well, right, but they didn't buy the. I think, isn't it? New Line still had it though. I don't think they sold it to Platinum Dunes.
I don't know.
I think they just did a contract deal, like Blumhouse.
Probably.
Anyway, weird franchise. God, I love this franchise. This franchise, I'll say it every time, is better than the Halloween franchise because it's be fun all the time. You should always turn your brain off, and there's always a way out of the dumb things.
And you can pick your poison.
Yeah, so good.
Do you want him in a different setting? Do you want him in the Evil Dead? Do you want him against Freddy? Do you want him human? Do you want him not human? Do you want him supernatural? Do you want him fighting someone supernatural? Do you
want a copycat?
Do you want his mom? There's options.
I love this franchise so much. But anyway, that's Friday the 13th Part 3. Happy 40th birthday. Crazy. Next year, we have nothing, and then we have to wait till 2024 for the final chapter. Have you seen the Steelbook?
No.
The Blu-ray Steelbook of Part 3 just came out. It's pretty dope.
This year we got 20 years of Jason X.
Yep.
Which we just covered.
Yep.
And we just got 40.
I know.
I'm getting old.
Big anniversaries, man. That's crazy.
Man. And like I said in our Jason X, that was the first Jason in theaters that I got to see. So I have a very special place for that movie in my heart.
Yeah, see, mine was Freddy vs. Jason. I don't know where I was. I don't think our theater... That's the problem. Like, in a small town where, like, my mom liked horror movies, but... no, she would have gone. She would have gone. But it's a small town.
Jason X didn't do that well in theaters.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it came to our theater. Because our theater, like, it only got the top-tier stuff. Unless it was just, like, a crappy time, and they're like, here's this turd.
Yeah. Like, if you were around smaller theaters at the time, I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't.
Yeah. But we did get Mortal Kombat 2, which, wow.
Dude, that...
My first big disappointment as a child. Like I walked out of that movie and as a child, I was like, what the hell just happened?
Dude, so I was so stoked when I saw the trailer for it, and I saw Smoke and Cyrax.
Yeah!
And then you get the movie, and you're like, this is trash.
God, trash. As soon as I get into those little roller ball thing, the hamster balls, I was like, this is bad. If you guys are watching this, like I said, on the future and YouTube, we really appreciate it. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. So you can get some more on our. Until next time, we're out of here.